What's good, everybody? It's man Big Don coming live at you on the True Players Podcast episode. Yes, I'm live right before Thursday Night Football. Well, basically, talk about I had a little bit of a disappointment earlier this week because my Mets magical season came to an end. I needed some time to recuperate from the loss. And that night, Sunday night, was probably a bad night, but there was a glimmer of hope in that night. Also, you guys should have saw me. I was scrambling to watch both the New York Mets versus Dodgers game 6 and watch the Sunday night football game, the Jets versus the Steelers, which I'm going to talk about that first. Talking about first along with the Giant loss as well. But through that sad night, we do have to give credit where credit is due, and that's to the New York Liberty, winning their first championship in over 24 years of being in the WNBA, being the original franchise in the WNBA. I did watch the final 2 minutes in OT when I look at the score on ESPN. I was like, oh shit, it's close. It looks like they may do it. These young ladies may do it. And what I saw, I mean, granted, the coach of the Lynx was saying that they got robbed and stuff like that. Listen, you can't take you're a solo, so you can't take an L. Can't take an L, can't take an L. Move on. You didn't win the championship, just move on. Okay? That night, Sunday night, was for the New York Liberty over there in Barclays Center. It was great to see Teresa Witherspoon, the original New York Liberty, in the stands, in the front row, watch the game. Tears come out of her eyes as the team with Sophia Ionescu was celebrating along with all the teammates the first championship in Liberty history in the Barclays Center. Over the past few years, I have not been watching WNBA in earnest. But I remember when the first WNBA first came out, when he had stars like Cheryl Swoops, Cynthia Cooper, Teresa Witherspoon, Becky Hammond, Rebecca Lobo, Tina Thompson. The name goes Staley. I forgot her name. I'm about to call her Deuce Staley. Dawn Staley. There you go. Dawn Staley. You know what I'm saying? Lisa Leslie and all them. I was watching it in earnest for the first couple of years. And, this is like the Liberty's 5th trip to the WNBA Finals. The first 2 years of the inaugural WNBA was Liberty versus Comets. First 2 years. So it's great to finally see this franchise finally succeed. And winning a WNBA championship, you gotta give credit where credit is due. Now it puts even more pressure on the New York Knicks to win this year. Now I'm going to recap their first game of the season. They're playing tomorrow, but I will recap the season. I mean, we recap the first game as well because it was a game that if you're a Knicks fan and you're looking forward to being the team to beat the Celtics, I understand it's early. It's the first game of the season. Does that team look like they were going to beat them Celtics? The answer was no. But before I get into all of that, let's talk about the recapping of Week 7 of the NFL season. Our New York teams really dropped the ball, really shit the bag. Both teams did. But you know what it is, too. When you expect certain things to happen, we knew the Giants was going to have a tough game against the Eagles, especially with Saquonbarkley coming back to MetLife Stadium as a member of the Philadelphia Eagles. He did receive a lot of boos. He really did receive a lot of boos. But the man did his thing. You can't say enough. Saquonbarkley, 17 carries, 176 yards at the TD. He was playing like a man that wanted to beat the shit out of the Giants, even though he tried to keep it low key. But he sure as hell wanted to single-handedly beat the Giants. And he did. For all intents and purposes, he sure did. Like I said, 17 carries, 176 yards. Okay? Jalenhurts didn't really have to do anything. 10 of 14, 114 yards and a TD to A.J. Brown, who had 5 receptions for 89 yards. The first quarter was 0-0. Both defenses playing well, but when you have to deal with the talent of the Philadelphia Eagles on the offensive side of the ball, If your offense is not going to keep up with them, you're going to get blown out. And that's what happened to the Giants. That's what happened to the Giants. They got basically blown out by a better team. And you can't blame. Can you blame? The only thing I blame on the Giants for is that the constant injuries to their left tackle, Andrew Thomas, it started to become an issue. He's out for the season again with a Liz Frank injury to his foot. Daniel Jones once again, he got maliknabers back in the lineup, but he only had 14. Daniel Jones was 14 of 21 for 99 yards. That's not gonna beat a team like the Philadelphia Eagles. It's not gonna beat a team like that with those stats. And then I heard he was unhappy when he got pulled late in the third quarter for Drew Lock. The ball was not moving. The offense was not moving. And I'm gonna give the Giants one thing: they got a good defense over there. They need an offense that can support that defense. They really do. They need some talent. They got maliknabers as a talent. They got Darius Slayton. They got Wan'Dale Robinson, a decent receiving core. But the rookie is the superstar of that. What else can I say about this game? The Eagle defense played exceptionally well in that game. It took advantage of the left side of the offensive line of the New York Giants. This led into a blowout of 28-3. The Giants go to 2-5. They're playing Washington next week. So let's see what happens. I mean, they did play Washington tight the first series, but let me tell you something. This Washington team with the rookie quarterback is much better than what the Giants faced in I believe they played in week 3. They're a much better team than what they saw in week 3. So don't expect another game of field goal battle, and them having a chance to win. The Commanders are ready to rock and roll. They're the top team in the NFC East right now. So let's take a look at that game, see what's going to happen, and go from there. All right. Now let's talk about the debacle that's in the other side of MetLife, which is my beloved New York Jets playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers, a team that they should beat, despite Wilson coming back, which a lot of fans, a lot of critics had a problem with because Justin Fields was playing so well. They're saying that it probably because of the draft pick that they gave up for Justin Fields. They're trying to protect that draft pick. It's whatever. But for me, if the young quarterback, Justin Fields, is playing well and the team is still winning, that's not a move that I would make. But let me tell you something. Russell Wilson made some plays late in the third and fourth quarter that only Russell Wilson can make, which extend that lead against the Jets. Jets ended up losing 35-17 to the Steelers. Despite the trade of davanteadams, the offense still looks the same. Does not look like a threat. You got too many guys in the receiving corps that needs the ball now. So you got to spread the wealth. Now, the Jets went scoreless in the second half for a team who has that offensive prowess of the New York Jets with Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, Gary Wilson, davanteadams, and Lazard and Mike Williams. You should not be going scoreless in the second half. You should not. And the person who held them back is the quasi-GM of the New York Jets, which is Aaronrodgers. He was the one that held them back. Despite going 24 of 39 for 276 yards, the TD and 2 interceptions. One interception was not his fault. And it was an interception that really changed the tide of the game because the Jets were up in that game 17-13. The ball was right in Gary Wilson's chest. It bounces off his chest. Interception. They score right before halftime. Momentum changing that game right after that drop. And somebody tell Garrett Wilson to start catching the ball with his hands, not with his chest. He should have caught the fucking ball. I'm sorry. He should have caught the fucking ball. There's no excuse for that whatsoever. And again, they did trade for davanteadams. They had the trade done right before the Bills game. But like I said on the previous last week on the podcast, does he help you guys tackle? Does he help you guys stop the running game? Does he help you stop the wide open, the busted coverages where receivers are getting wide open? Does he do any of that stuff? The answer is no. He's on the other side of the football. This Jet team still can't stop the run, and there's too many guys with that talented cornerback room. DJ Reed did not play in this game, but you had Sauce Gardner. You had Eccles. You know what I'm saying? Still should have put up a better fight against the receivers of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Najee Harris went crazy. He went crazy. 21 carries, 102 yards. Jaylen Warren, his backup, went 12 carries, 44 yards. Again, your inability to stop the running game. You know what I'm saying? Brees Hall had 12 carries for 39 yards, but he was also the leading receiver with 6 receptions for 103 yards. And Garrettwilson contributed 5 receptions for 61 yards. And davanteadams in his debut had 3 receptions for 30 yards. Okay. But the problem is a defense that gave up 35 points to the Steelers with Russell Wilson making his return as the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers off the calf injury. What I saw from the defense side of the ball, I don't know if I should blame these two players, but they were invisible in that game. We're talking about Quinnen Williams and C.J. Mosley, and also I'm gonna say Quincy Williams as well, who's been invisible. 3 key guys who were main cogs in that defense for the past couple of years. The improving defense, in my opinion, have been fairly quiet this season. I understand Quinnen Williams is getting the double teams, but where's the linebacker play to help them out? Hassan Reddick is back on the team against what I think I wouldn't have done it, but the Jets do need him. I'm sorry to say, the Jets do need him in that linebacker position to go along with Will McDonald, who's playing a hell of a season. I believe he got, I think, either 7 or 8 sacks this season. Fill in for Jermaine Johnson. 7 or 8 sacks already this season. So apparently they're doing something. He's doing something right after question marks in the preseason. But my thing is, though, you bring in Joe Douglas. This is his, I believe, his 6th year as GM. Okay. A guy who has experience, who's when he played in the NFL, he was an offensive lineman. Okay. You mean to tell me you have to give a 40-year-old quarterback protection? You got a left tackle that you got from the Dallas Cowboys, who is as much as a turnstile as Mekhi Becton was last year, if not worse. If not worse, in Tyron Smith. The offensive line is still bad. Still bad. When is Jeff Ulbrich is going to make the move to put Fashanu starting at left tackle? When is that going to happen? It has to happen soon. The Jets are 2-5 right now. 2-5. They have the easiest schedule for the next. How many games they got left? They got 2-5. There's 7 games. 18-game season. What was it, 17-game season? They got 10 more games left to get into the playoffs. In my opinion, they got to win at least 10 games. That means they have to go 8-2 the rest of the way. 8-2 the rest of the way. Can this team with this talent do that amidst the chaos that's going on over there in Jetland, in Jet Drive? Can they do that? That's good. That's a fleeting question that needs to be answered. But we're gonna find out. They have an easy game against. It should be an easy game against the Patriots this week. Should be a very easy game, but we don't know. We don't know. Woody Johnson's meddling in the franchise again is going to set the franchise back again. I understand he did not hire Robert Saleh. That's why he didn't have that much loyalty to him. And he didn't. I don't believe he hired Joe Douglas either. I believe that was his brother that hired Joe Douglas. In all intents and purposes, Joe Douglas is being said to be fired at the end of the season. He may not. If the Jets don't end in a winning record, we're gonna have a new organization next season in Jetland. We're gonna have a new GM, new president of football operations. We're gonna hire a consulting firm to bring in somebody to run this franchise the right way. Is playoffs a bust for the New York Jets? Is playoffs a bust for Joe Douglas? I'm starting to feel that Robert Saleh was fired too soon. Because I'm sorry to say, Jeff Ulbrich may be a great defensive coordinator, but he's overwhelmed right now being the head coach. He's overwhelmed. I see it on the sideline. He's overwhelmed. And this is the opportunity for him to audition for the head coaching position, and he's failing. The team has looked worse each and every week on the defensive side of the ball. I'm of the opinion that I truly feel that the Jets need someone like Steve Cohen to be the owner of that franchise. An owner like Steve Cohen. And I'm going to speak about the Mets a little bit later because I know everybody wants to talk about that. Everyone really wants me to talk about the New York Mets. But the stability that has been growing with the New York Mets organization under the tutelage of Steve Cohen, that same attribute should be used with the New York Jets. So I'm pleading with Steve Cohen. I'm pleading with the NFL. Please make Woody Johnson sell the team. And please let Steve Cohen buy the Jets. Steve, if you like football, please buy the New York Jets. And bring them back to Citi Field. Bring them back onto New York soil. Just so you can break this curse of not going to the Super Bowl. Because I've said this many times. I said this last year. I said it the year before. I've been doing this podcast for 6 fucking years. I said the Jets will never see a Super Bowl as long as they share a stadium with the New York Giants. And they play in Jersey. They will never make a Super Bowl until that happens. So let's get a new owner in there who has the will to win, who understands organization in a franchise, and bring him back to New York. Build a stadium somewhere in Queens. They got a lot of space over there by Citi Field. Build a stadium over there by Queens, put the Jets there. Because Woody Johnson is not the answer. His brother is not the answer. As Jets fans, we should all boycott the games to force them to sell. Because these guys are not in it to win. They're not in it to win it. That's why I like Steve Cohen. He's in it to win it. You know what I'm saying? One last thing. A few questions I got to ask you guys before we move on to the New York Knicks and the Celtics, the season opener on Tuesday night. Is Aaronrodgers done as an elite quarterback in this league? Is he done as the type of quarterback? Can he lead your team the way he used to do it in Green Bay, carrying the team on his back? For what I've saw over the past 7 weeks, he has some flashes, but it's one thing man, woman, animal can never beat. It's time. We can't beat time. Time is undefeated. Time is timeless. It may be time for him to stand back and go more to a ground and pound type of offense like they had with Rex Ryan, and have Aaron Rodgers be a game manager. Listen, it's not a bad thing. You know why it's not a bad thing? Because Peyton Manning did it and got himself a second Super Bowl. Sit back, rely on the defense, ground and pound, and be an excellent game manager. It has been done with a Hall of Fame quarterback. It has been done before. Peyton Manning did it. The only problem is Aaron Rodgers is going to swallow his ego to let that happen. That's going to be the key. That's going to be the key. So we're going to move on. We're going to move on from the football because I'm hoping victories for both New York teams next week. The Jets should win. Jets should win. So we're going to move on to the most anticipated situation that we've been waiting for since the Knicks were eliminated by the Pacers last season, which is the New York season opener against the Celtics. The Knicks got blown the hell out of that building. It was the banner raising for the Celtics championship. They were motivated. They were on fire. The fans was on fire, lighting it up. No letdown. The defending world champions was on a mission not to let down after seeing their banner being raised again. And they really kicked the Knicks' ass in this game. Yeah, you may get Cat. Yeah, you may have got mikalbridges. But we're gonna show you that we're still the beast of the East. That's what Celtics did. They still showed they're beast of the East. And if it was for Miles McBride, Deuce McBride, the Knicks would have got blown about 40 points in that game. I don't care who you have on your team. I really don't care who you have on your team. You could have Michael Jordan. You could have Scottie Pippen. You could have Kobe. When a team scores 90 points off three-pointers, you're not going to win. Jaysontatum, Jalenbrown, Derek White, they were all Drew Holiday was hitting wide open threes. And when they had a hand in their face, they were still hitting bottom of the net with the three-point shot. Still hitting the bottom of the net with that. Wide open three-point shot, which is not the Knicks' trademark, especially under Thibodeau. The Knicks' defense was not good. And like I said, there's no time to panic. There's really no time to panic. It's only the first game of the season. The one red flag that I did see is that Jalenbrunson was, in the beginning, was not aggressive. He was trying to get his teammates involved. Yes. But mikalbridges has to start hitting shots. Not just play defense. We didn't bring you just to play defense. We brought you in to score as well, to be the secondary scorer or the third scorer on that team behind Jalenbrunson and Cat. Another red flag that I saw during that basketball game is I fell asleep. I fell asleep because I knew the game was over. After halftime, I knew the game was over. Even though they had little runs here and there. I didn't see much pick and roll with Cat and Brunson. Not much pick and rolls. They need to implement that into the next game, which is tomorrow. They need to implement that tomorrow. A game that they should win. But another red flag is, I understand Mitchell Robinson is out, probably till January. You guys, we spent so much time trying to develop Jericho Sims. We spent so much time trying to develop him. And he looked much worse than he has in the previous seasons playing with this team. Much worse. He was fumbling the basketball. I mean, granted, he got a few rebounds. He got 7 rebounds. But there's a big drop off, ginormous drop off between him and Cat. And Cat's gonna need his breathers. So until January, the Knicks need to figure out something with the backup center position. Because Jericho Sims cannot have. I heard so many things during the summer how he improved his offensive game. He got bigger and stronger. He's grabbing more rebounds. Listen, I knew this team, as much as I used to bash Hartenstein, I knew this team was going to miss Hartenstein. I knew it. What Hartenstein brought to the table, he brought the tenacity, offensive rebounds. So when Mitchell was going down, the tenacity on offensive rebounding still remained. And that's what the Knicks missed against the Celtics, was the offensive rebounding. It wasn't the same for New York Knicks as far as that goes. But like I said, Dante DiFrancesco was missing. The Knicks need another guy who can hit shots to match up with the Celtics. They do miss DiFrancesco. What's his name? Chamier was supposed to be that guy to fill that box score, but he's injured. Possibly could be out for the season. So Knicks gonna need another scorer to go with McBride. McBride played a hell of a game. Hell of a game. He looks different. He looks confident. He looks hungry. Another thing that I did notice, like I said, is early. Should Knicks consider going with a more conventional lineup? Get a big to go alongside Cat, and have Josh Hart come off the bench. Should Knicks propose that? We'll see. Game 2 is tomorrow, so we'll see what happens. I do believe this Knicks team is a 60-win basketball team. I do believe that. They should win 60 games. Like I said, it's a bump in the road. You're playing against the defending world champions on their court after having their banner raised. Yeah, that's a tough thing to fight to win a basketball game against. It's really tough to do that. So I'm not panicking just yet. But let's make some changes in the offensive system. That's why you got Maurice Cheeks there. Let's implement some offense in there. So now we go down to the coup de grace. I don't want to start sharing tears and stuff like that, knowing that the New York Yankees are playing the Dodgers in the World Series. Kind of hoped there was a New York Mets against the Yankees, a nice, beautiful Subway Series. But we're going to talk about Mets now, guys. So if you guys are watching the podcast, let me tell you something. We're going to talk about New York Mets right now. Don't know how long I'm going to spend with them. So I can spend a whole hour on the New York Mets. But I want to save it when I have my guy, Matthew Miranda, join me from Jacobin Sports Show to discuss what the needs are for the New York Mets when we get close to hot stove season, which will be about 2 months. Actually, a month and a half from now. Hot stove meetings, the winter meetings, and all that shit. So, as I watch in pain the magical season of the New York Mets end in 6 games against the Los Angeles Dodgers, I don't remember the score because I don't want to remember the score. It was, what was it, 10-5 or some shit like that. I could be wrong. It still hurts me to speak and talk about the New York Mets in this way. They had a wonderful season behind a rookie manager who at first I was not a big fan of. I felt they should have kept Buck and kept it rolling. But this manager, Carlos Mendoza, grew on me tremendously throughout the season. The team started 0-5. Okay? 0-5. By mid-June, there were 11 games under 500. For them to have the best record in baseball starting in July, have the best record in baseball, to finish out the season and making the playoffs the way they made the playoffs, all on last at-bats, all with big hits in the 8th inning by Petealonso. Big hits by the MVP of the league, in my opinion, Francisco Lindor. This team, I'm proud. I'm really proud of this team, and I hope and pray there's a way they can keep everyone together for another run at the next season. Maybe add a little bit piece, add another piece to it, like a Juan Soto type of player, or a pitcher, another ace pitcher like Blake Snell to go along with Manaea, Severino, Peterson, and Senga, and go at it one more time. Especially when you got Ronnie Mauricio coming back next season, and you got to figure out where is he going to play. If the Mets if the Mets are able to keep Alonso, where are you going to play Mauricio? Where are you going to play Vientos? Something to think about. This is probably the time to kick the tires on putting not Vientos, but Mauricio in the outfield, possibly center field. Sean Manaea had a comeback season, pitched he had a great season. He was big for us down the stretch, but he wasn't sharp in his game. I think the fatigue got to him. It wasn't just physical fatigue. I know he was over his innings this season. It wasn't just that. I believe it was the mental fatigue of the season. He has never been this far deep into the season, being an ace of a staff. Became an ace by sheer hard work and making adjustments to improve his game. And I saw in the press conference how emotional he was losing. I saw that. It hurt him to lose that game, the way he lose that game, because I guarantee you one thing, guys. If Manaea was able to pitch 6 innings in that game against the Dodgers, he probably would have been playing a Game 7 on Monday, and then face the Yankees in the World Series. I truly believe that, because I believe Severino would have pitched a hell of a game in Game 7. The Mets had the advantage because they had starting pitchers who go deep into games. The Dodgers just had Flaherty. All the other top pitchers was injured. They were basically going by bullpen by committee each and every game outside of Flaherty. And actually, outside of Flaherty and Yamamoto, I'm sorry. Outside those two pitchers, bullpen by committee. Well, the Mets had the ability to throw out Quintana, Severino, Manaea, and Senga. Senga did not pitch well in this series. And each time that the brights got brighter, Maton looks scared as fuck. He looked scared as fuck. As lights got bigger, the pressure got bigger. He looked scared, which begs the question: why was not Ottavino on the playoff roster against the Dodgers? I understand he hasn't been pitching well. It wasn't a guy that you could trust, but he's a veteran pitcher who has pitched in playoffs. There were some managerial moves. I mean, granted, Carlos Mendoza did a hell of a job managing, but there were still things that he screwed up on. Is after those 2 and some change innings with Manaea, I would have went to Senga and not Maton. I wouldn't have done that. I understand Senga did not pitch well, but it was just a better look to go with Senga at that time. So he could save Stanek and Diaz for later in the game. If the Mets was not going to give up on this game. They were not going to give up on this game. They're going to find ways to score and try to make a comeback. You had to put your pitchers in a position to allow them to make that comeback. And I feel bad. I feel bad because, I like Petealonso. I really do. His choice of agents kind of bothers me, but I get it. He says he loves New York. He loves Queens. He doesn't want to leave the Mets. Proof is in the pudding. Can the Mets and him and his agent Scott Boras come up with an amicable and reasonable contract to keep him on his team, and also with the flexibility to sign a Juan Soto to help him out in that lineup, to go along with Lindor and Nimmo? Maybe you have an opportunity to now, instead of re-signing JD Martinez, which was, I think, it was a great signing because of what he brought on the intangibles that he brought to the table for the team. If it wasn't for him, Vientos would not become the superstar he became in these playoffs. And Vientos did become a superstar in these playoffs. Batted .327 in the playoffs with 4 home runs and 14 RBIs in the playoffs. Big hits, big grand slam home runs against the Dodgers, big grand slam, big hits against the Phillies, big hits against the Brewers. This guy was nonstop in the playoffs this season. The only guy that came close to an offensive season like that for the Mets, in my opinion, you got to go back to Edgardo Alfonso. I think Beltran was pretty good in 06 as well. But the way Vientos was reminiscent of freaking Edgardo Alfonso in those runs in 99 and 2000 without Edgardo Alfonso. It was close to that. Very close to that. Starlingmarte, I'll tell you, if he was healthy against the Padres in 2022, the Mets would have went far in that playoff as well. He was more healthier than he was in 2022. Contributed big time. Batted .277 in the playoffs with 9 RBIs. Some big RBIs, big stolen bases, put himself in position to score some runs. But you just hate the way the magical season came and it ended the way it ended. The team went down fighting. That I gotta say, they went down fighting. Even Francisco Alvarez found his hitting stroke again late in that game with some big hits and RBIs to try to help the Mets come back and possibly steal the game in LA. But like I said, they got beat by a better team. But they got beat. I'm not gonna say a better team. They got beat by a better lineup. And this is what the Mets need to emulate. Having a deep lineup will make it go a long way. Having the ability to be patient at the plate and make the starting pitchers work to get to the work, make those pitchers work and have them throw pitches to get you out. The Dodgers followed the blueprint of the Yankees, the dynasty Yankees in the late 90s and early 2000s. That's how those Yankees teams won. They wore out starting pitching with the ability to fight off pitches, working long and deep counts, and hitting clutch, making clutch hits with their big boppers. With their big boppers. That's what the Mets need to do. That the Mets need a lineup like that. I think they're capable of having a lineup like that, but it's going to take some tricks. Not saying some tricks. It's going to take some strategy to make that happen. Because one thing for sure, Luis Acuna needs to have a place on that lineup and on the field. Ronnie Mauricio is coming back from ACL injury, and what he's shown in 23. This guy could be a big offensive player for the New York Mets, along with Vientos. I'm saying that right now. The Mets got some young players coming up in the system, ready to rock and roll. So my question to you guys is, where does that leave us now? It's gonna be a long off season, but it's a most anticipated off season to continue to watch the work of David Stearns. I did not agree with his signing. He was another guy I didn't agree with. I wanted Theo Epstein, but this guy has proved me wrong once again. He has a plan. Steve Cohen has a plan, and Steve Cohen believes in his plan for the Mets. This Mets team is going to be competing for years to come. This is just the beginning of the New York Mets competing. And I promise you this. Had the Mets won Game 6, they would have won Game 7. Steve Cohen would have had the opportunity to accomplish his goal to win a World Series within his first 5 years as New York Mets owner. It almost happened. It almost happened. But now they're going home. But one thing is for sure when it comes to the National League East, which is a beast of an East. The Phillies ain't going nowhere. The Braves are not going anywhere. It's going to be a dogfight for the NL East. It's going to be a dogfight. Does Luisseverino return? Does seanmanaea return as pitchers? In my opinion, if I was GM, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get them signed get them re-signed for a reasonable contract, because I need to sign that big ace to go along with them. Take the pressure off Kodaisenga of being the ace. Maybe he'll heal up and be ready to go next season. And then you have Peterson at the back end. And what a scary thought it could look like for the New York Mets if Blake Snell does opt out. And then he signs with the New York Mets. Just imagine the Mets could have 3 left-handed starting pitchers in their rotation that could win at least 12 games to go along with Severino and Senga if they sign Blake Snell. I'm not sure if Blake Snell is the answer that will put the Mets over the top. I'm not sure. But we will see what happens. What happens with Jeff McNeil next season? It all depends what happens with it. It really correlates with Petealonso. It really does. And here's why. If the Mets do not sign Petealonso, Vientos moves to first base. And then you have Ronnie Mauricio who's going to go right into third base. But now there's an issue. You need a place for Acuna. If we do resign my man Jose Iglesias, oh my God! As a utility player, backup player, like a leader for the New York Mets, where does that leave Jeff McNeil? Okay, I'm not going to include Juan Soto into the equation right now. I'm not going to include Juan Soto. You still got one more year with Starlingmarte. You still got one more season, one more year you have in this contract. You need a center field. The Mets need a center fielder. A lot of Mets fans are like, yo, we could go with Taylor and all that stuff. I'm not a big fan of Taylor. You got Nimmo in left field, which I'm going to mention another managerial mistake is with Nimmo battling the plantar fasciitis. It probably would have been a good idea to DH Nimmo and have Jeff McNeil out there in left field. Probably would have been a better idea. The Dodgers got extra runs because Brandon Nimmo was injured. He couldn't get to some balls that was hitting the gap. That's truth. That's straight facts. The injury to Nimmo hurt the Mets defensively out there. Another gaffe by the manager, small gaffe. But then again, he's going by analytics, and that's why I say analytics is not good for baseball. Baseball is a game of feel. You cannot go by numbers. It has to be you have to go by your feel. You have to go with your gut feeling when it comes to baseball. So on that note, guys, it's the end of the podcast. I'm gonna say brief things about the New York Yankees and Dodgers. Is going to be a great World Series. I believe the New York Yankees will win in 6 games. In 6 games, but this is what they got to do. You got to get Garrett Cole and Carlos Rendon. I'm not sure the pit, and you might Marco Stroman if he's. The guy I hate the most is Marco Stroman. I don't know if he even pitched in the playoffs this year, but anyway. They gotta pitch deep into the games against the Dodgers with that long lineup. The Yankees got just as long as the lineup as well. So expect a lot of big scoring games from both teams, because the Dodgers after Yamamoto and Flaherty is bullpen by committee after that, which I believe the Yankees will take a clear advantage of. So like I said, Yankees in 6 games. Let's go Knicks. Jets, you got to beat the Patriots. Go 3-5 and go from there. Giants, you have a tough task ahead of you with the up-and-coming Commanders. I believe you could win the game. Your defense is sound, but you need the offense to match the defensive side of the football. All right. So On that note, guys, it's your man Big Dom signing off on this podcast. I'll see y'all next week for another episode recapping NFL season and more Knicks recap. It's your man Big Dom signing off. Remember to like and follow me on YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify. Remember to follow me on all those platforms. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.